Today I'm going to show you the top 5 recovery gear items that you need to recover yourself, and a winch is not on the list. This is the most important recovery item you can have, a shovel. This one's short. This is a more flatter head. We got a pointier head inside. Doesn't matter. A shovel will get you out of, theoretically, 100% of the time. Now, in practice, you're not going to dig your way out of every situation, but about 85% of the time, this will get you out of absolutely positively everything if you have a decent amount of patience and you're in a reasonable physical condition. Even if you are going to be pulling the car, which we'll talk about later, or if you're going to be winching the stuck vehicle, you're going to want to dig your path out of the way. In other words, if you're dug in sand, you got to dig a path, you got to clear what's causing you resistance out of the way. That's where the shovel comes in. This is the first thing that comes out when somebody is stuck, ourselves or anybody else. Out comes the shovel. This is the first thing that comes out, and it's typically the last thing to get put away. We've been high-centered before, and we've dug out a giant rock with just this shovel. High-centered on the transmission, with enough patience, and this shovel, that giant rock, was dug out from underneath this vehicle, and away we went. Shovel, very important. It's a kinetic rope. Kinetic rope. I don't know what size this is, whatever. Get a kinetic rope. This is a miracle worker. Unlike a flat strap or a static strap, these things have stretch in them, and they allow you to free people in soft sand and mud, which is what most people get stuck in. And it's very difficult for the recovery vehicle to recover without a kinetic rope, but this makes it easy. We've recovered so many vehicles with just a basic kinetic rope, because unlike a static pull, all you have to do is get a little speed going, the recovery vehicle, get your momentum going, just give it a little jolt, and the thing will pop out due to the amazing elastic or rubber band action of these kinetic ropes. Doesn't matter what brand you get, they're cheap. This thing is the star of the show. This is a hitch shackle or a hitch receiver shackle. There's enough names for them. The point is, it's got a 2-inch hitch, and it goes in down there on your normal 2-inch hitch receiver, and you've got a shackle here, a hard shackle. This is used to hook up whatever rope you're going to hook up. You get them cheap anywhere. This one's a Kurt. It's a little bit more pricey and heavy duty, but they got these things at Harbor Freight. Anybody that has a 2-inch hitch receiver can hook up to this. So we carry 2. We've got 2. And that way, if the stuck vehicle doesn't have one of these, we can just plug in one to their vehicle, hook up the kinetic rope, and pull them out. They're very safe, they're very strong, and it turns any truck that has a 2-inch receiver into a truck or vehicle that now has a recovery point. This is called a round sling. Round sling, and it's got a rating on it, and this is a great tool. The whole purpose of this is to be a recovery point where someone does not have recovery points. So if you don't have recovery points, or they don't have recovery points, it doesn't matter whether you're stuck or they're stuck. This thing is like magic. because it can make a recovery point out of any part of the vehicle within reason. Use your common sense. Obviously, don't put this around something that's weak underneath the car, like a tie rod or a CV axle. Instead, go around the lower control arm or the subframe and then hook your kinetic rope to this, and away you go. You don't need to worry about the other vehicle having a recovery point. This will make your recovery point for you. Now, you could use a normal flat strap or towing bridle to do the same thing, but the good part about these things is the working stuff, the stuff doing the work, is inside the green. This green is only to protect the cords inside. Unlike a flat strap, this can get bunched up, it could get folded up, it can get crimped up, and it doesn't change the working load of the round sling. It stays the same. Now, the same rules apply with any strap. You can configure it in 3 ways. This is called a straight pull. If you do it the way I usually do it, if you double it up like this is called a basket. This doubles your capacity. And then there's a choker configuration, which I'm not going to try to do with one hand, and that kind of halves it. So keep in mind the configuration that you're going in and the loads that you're pulling, and you'll be A-okay, and it's all outlined here on the safety rating plate here. But these are way more versatile than any sort of rigging or strap or anything else, flat strap, toe strap, bridle that you can think of, bunched up, curled up. Do whatever you want with them as long as you follow one of those 3 rigging principles and stay within the working load outlined here. You're going to be A-okay. Jack and jack pad. This is the normal bottle jack for this Lexus GX 460, and it is truly a screw jack. These are not cheap Mickey Mouse jacks. You might be able to find one of these for $200. These things are from Toyota. They're made in Japan. It's not a cheap hydraulic cylinder. Instead, it's a worm gear, basically a screw jack. Very robust, very small, very lightweight and compact. This can jack your vehicle up if you're high-centered. And of course, this keeps the jack from sinking into a soft surface and allows it to work. Might be asking yourself, where's the winch? Where's the traction boards? I saw an Overlander with an 80-inch lift kit and 50-inch tires with winches all over and traction boards. And that's nice. The reality of the matter is you don't need any of those things, particularly a winch or a traction boards are not going to save you most of the time. What I mean by that is it's not necessary. Could you do it with a winch and traction boards? Of course, but they're not necessary. This car's never been pulled out by a winch. We've never pulled anybody out with a winch. Do they have their uses? Of course. When someone's about to tip over a mountain like that, they're about to roll their vehicle and they're on a weird angle and they need a controlled pull, that's where a winch shines. With that said, you yourself are highly unlikely to ever get stuck off-road like that. What happens, again, about 90% of the time, people will get stuck in soft sand or mud, or they'll high center their vehicle on something like a rock or a pile of sand or sticky mud. And under those circumstances, a pull from a kinetic rope or even a static strap hooked up to anywhere on the car and done with common sense will free the vehicle most of the time. So the idea here is to kind of get across that you don't need as much recovery gear as you may think you need. I know winches and traction boards look cool, but being pragmatic, being practical, we rarely ever out here in the desert see anybody pull out their winch. Also in the desert, at least where we are, there's nowhere to winch onto. There's no trees. You can't attach to anything. And no, the shovel attachment for sand and winches doesn't work either. So this is not saying don't get a winch. It's just saying don't think you need it to do most recoveries that you're probably ever going to do ever. You'll rarely pull out your winch, if at all, if you have and use the junk that I just showed you. Traction boards. Depends on what vehicle you're in. This Lexus GX460 does not starve for traction. Traction is like an open differential thing where one wheel is spinning, you know, that's in the air, and the one that's on the ground that can move, you know, has contact with the surface is not moving. So you stick traction boards under the free spinning wheel to get the differential to figure it out. You know, modern vehicles today, whether we're talking about this Lexus with track, A-Track, MTS, etc., that's Toyota, Lexus stuff. Every modern 4x4 today is going to have some form of traction aid or traction control that's going to work perfectly or near perfectly. And a traction board is essentially archaic for those modern vehicles that have those traction control systems that can break a free spinning wheel and send it to the wheel with traction. Now, that's not to say, again, that a traction board won't help you out here or there. But in our experience, traction boards just simply fly out from under the tire that you put them out. You put it under, it just shoots right out, and that's the end of it. And so you get someone, you dig out, and you get someone to yank you with a rope, and out you go. You know, don't waste time with the traction board. Again, these are generalizations based on our experiences out here in the Mojave Desert. If you want a winch, if you want traction boards, if you want anything else that you think you need to get to recover someone or be recovered off-road, by all means, go for it. I'm not telling you what not to do. It's not what I'm trying to do. I'm simply saying don't overthink it. In reality, if we are to be honest with ourselves, most people simply get dug out and yanked out, and or a combination of that. And if they're high-centered, the jack comes out and you either stack rocks to free yourself from the high center, or you jack the vehicle up, dig out the high center, whether it's a rock, sand, or mud, let the jack back down, and away you go. If you found this video helpful, useful, entertaining, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a great, great day.